am reacting to your Survivor Series War Games hot takes. Immediately after the show ended, I asked for your hot takes on X. So if you want to be part of the next time that we do these videos, make sure that you're following me on there. The link is in the description below. And yes, a lot of these hot takes are going to be CM Punk related because it's only like the biggest thing in professional wrestling to happen in the last like 9 years. And hey, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. And if you want more proof that we do these videos daily, just know that I'm on vacation right now on the other side of the Atlantic in Portugal, sitting on the floor without my lighting, without my setup, and we're still doing daily videos. All right, let's jump into it. Survivor Series was the best pay-per-view of 2023. Look, I thought it was going to be impossible to defeat Backlash 2023, but the sheer hype that Survivor Series has created, the monumental wrestling returns that it's given us, it's tough to top Survivor Series 2023. Now, I dare argue that from an in-ring perspective, Survivor Series wasn't the best PLE out there, but just like in terms of overall hype and buzzworthiness, I would have to put Survivor Series as the top PLE of the year so far. Best Survivor Series to ever air. Again, from a hype perspective, you're probably right. I don't think that there's been a wrestling show with this much hype, this many returns ever, probably since I've ever watched WWE. But I will say from an in-ring perspective, I think it's really difficult to defeat the Survivor Series with all three brands, NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. That Survivor Series just had too many good matches to surpass. R-Truth was the best return. No, CM Punk's was, but I needed to bring this up because R-Truth returned, and I'm incredibly happy because he's one of my favorite character workers in WWE history. The man is absolutely hilarious. He is a legend, and he's going to make backstage comedy segments amazing. They were already really good. Now just add a combination of Tozawa and R-Truth in there. Dude, we've got ourselves a groundbreaking duo in backstage segments now. Tony Khan is fuming. I bet Tony Khan is wishing he took that ass whooping from CM Punk because not only did he lose the biggest star that he's ever had on AEW, but now he's got to deal with CM Punk bringing ratings over to the WWE. And here's the thing, this is all kind of Tony Khan's fault because CM Punk was probably going to stay retired from professional wrestling forever. It was Tony Khan that brought him out of retirement, so we kind of have to thank Tony Khan for bringing CM Punk out of retirement, but he's also the one that created this beast that's now going to generate so many views, so many headlines, and so much money for the WWE. In fact, now there's a narrative that AEW is dead. I don't think that that's right, but that narrative only exists because Tony Khan brought CM Punk out of retirement and now CM Punk is in the WWE. It's kind of this crazy circle of life thing going on right now. CM Punk is a hypocrite. Look, I hear you. The man talked a lot of smack about the WWE. It seemed like he was doing everything in his power to be able to tear down the WWE. So seeing him return to the WWE, yeah, I could see how people could see him as a hypocrite. But I mean, at the end of the day, dude, I don't care if he's a hypocrite. All I care is that CM Punk is back. As much as I love the CM Punk return, it felt like it completely took away from Randy's return in his moment. But having them both on the same show was legendary. Yeah, the fact that both CM Punk and Randy Orton were within like 15 minutes of one another is just absolutely mind-melting. Though I do understand where people are coming from that this may have diminished Randy Orton's return, I have to slightly disagree because of how they executed the CM Punk return. Because they executed it in the same way that they did the Bray Wyatt return, in that the main event ended, camera completely cut away from the main event to show Bray Wyatt's return. That's how they did the CM Punk return. So basically, it wasn't like CM Punk was technically interrupting the baby faces or anyone. It was just the reveal of CM Punk. So Randy Orton still got his full moment. He got his entrance. He got the hype towards his entrance and return throughout the entire show. He was hyped up on the Monday Night Raw before. So I would say that Randy still got a lot of his flowers. Speaking of which, Randy Orton, did he put on like 15 pounds of muscle? That man looks crazy good right now. Did it take away from Randy's return because it's not the most talked about thing coming out of Survivor Series? Perhaps, but I don't think the intention was to have Randy Orton be the most talked about thing out of Survivor Series, because otherwise they wouldn't have announced him on Monday Night Raw. JD McDonagh outperformed everybody in that match. Yeah, dude, we need to acknowledge JD McDonagh and how good he was on there. That was his first PLE main event, and the guy absolutely showed up. He had easily one of the best moments of the entire show with that RKO from the top of the cage. He had that beautiful moonsault. He was selling his ass off for everybody. To me, he was the performance MVP of that actual match. He was so good. So shout out to JD McDonagh, because I was super critical of him even being in this match. The women's War Games was better than the men's War Games match. I agree. I think it was more fast-paced, more fluid, and I think it was a lot more hard-hitting. And I think part of the reason why they were able to do all of those things, it was because it was significantly shorter than the men's. And it was significantly shorter because it had less people in it. I think what we realize is that the sweet spot for a good War Games match is 4v4, not 5v5, because that 5v5 just adds like an extra 20 minutes of a combination of wait time and letting each guy that just got in be able to make their mark. It just adds so much more time to the show, so much more time to the match, which means people get more tired, which means they can't be as hard hitting, as fast paced, etc., etc. The women, I think, also absolutely showed up, but part of the reason why was because they just had less people. Now that CM Punk is in WWE, I think he should win the Royal Rumble and face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. I would call this crazy, however, Cody Rhodes did win the Royal Rumble on his first year back from AEW, so it's not like there isn't already precedent to put over a former AEW guy in a big stage like the Royal Rumble. However, we're just so close to the Royal Rumble at this point. But to me, the right match is the one that you mentioned here. I think it is at WrestleMania, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Does it have to be for the World Heavyweight Championship? Not necessarily. So we can still get to Seth Rollins without Seth Rollins being the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania, because I'm still dead set on the Rumble going to Gunther. Yes, CM Punk is the big new toy. He's the one generating headlines, but again, he just doesn't need to be in a world title match for it to be a huge deal. So now what the WWE has is just a plethora of goods and services that they could provide to us. They have an entire war chest that they can ready up for WrestleMania. No longer do they have to rely on Seth Rollins being part of the World Heavyweight Championship picture at WrestleMania. Now they have a huge ready-made match for him that will generate a tremendous amount of buzz and a tremendous amount of headlines without the World Championship being on the line. He could perhaps lose this World Championship to Drew McIntyre or anyone else for that matter, because now the World Heavyweight Championship can have a different program altogether that doesn't necessarily have to involve Seth Rollins anymore. I just think that CM Punk has just been so far out of the WWE that I don't think he should be getting a World Heavyweight Championship match this quickly, but he can still have that marquee match with Seth Rollins. I think that because Damage Control lost this, it has to be setting up a breakup soon. That's because this was the best chance they were ever going to get to give them a super push and have them be a dominant faction. I think so too. I was certain that Damage Control was going to win this. In fact, I told you all to sell your house and gamble on Damage Control winning this. So if you lost your house, sorry, no refunds, man. But I still don't understand this decision. I get that, yeah, they're probably going to set up a breakup, but I feel like it would have been far better served to have them be a dominant faction. A dominant women's faction hasn't really existed in the WWE ever. So this could have been groundbreaking. This could have been fresh. This could have been new. But instead to work a breakup angle, I still feel like the more value could have been having Damage Control be a dominant group in a SmackDown that is full of super dominant baby faces like Bianca and Charlotte. And those are two individuals that need to go up against a giant force like a fully cohesive Damage Control for them to even feel like they have a chance at losing. Because at this point, Bianca could 1v all the entire SmackDown roster, which is why I wanted a really strong and a really cohesive and a well-working, well-oiled machine in Damage Control. But I think you're right. I think that they're heading towards a breakup, most likely kicking out Bayley. Punk's return was perfectly done, well hidden. When everybody thought it was over, a long time after the match, they play the music, just perfect. Yeah, I love the fact that they put the trademark logo just to really tell you the show is over. This was something that was done by NXT TakeOver Chicago when they did the turn of Tommaso Ciampa destroying Johnny Gargano. So it was executed very well, as you said. I really believe genuinely that the show was over. I also want to point out the fact that the WWE was incredibly smart with how they paced the show and how they were baiting. Let me tell you again, they were baiting Chicago to do CM Punk chants. And they were doing this with the whole storyline of Randy Orton might not show up. So who's going to be your fifth person? Of course, you're baiting Chicago there to do CM Punk chants. Looking back on it, I should have realized and I should have noticed that they were baiting CM Punk chants, which should have told me that CM Punk was going to return. Punk will last maybe a year before he's fired, and AEW got a better signing in Will Ospreay. I think the Will Ospreay signing is huge, but it's huge in a different way than CM Punk because Will Ospreay is just going to give AEW a top star that could carry amazing, incredible matches. But Will Ospreay is nowhere near the draw that CM Punk is. It's not even comparable. Will Ospreay is a darling of independent wrestling and wrestling outside of the United States. So there is a draw that he's going to bring, but not the mass market draw that CM Punk will bring. But still, that's a huge signing for AEW because now they can create a huge draw in Will Ospreay and make him a huge name in North America. Plus, he's young and can be one of the faces of the company moving forward. CM Punk is a totally different beast for the WWE. The WWE is just signing CM Punk so that they can suck him dry of as much money that they can possibly generate from him. That's all. There's no long-term vision for CM Punk in the WWE. The man is old. It's just a fact. But in the short term, he can generate so much for the WWE. A WWE that is already hot now just added CM Punk. That's almost like a Mortal Kombat overkill fatality. Now, you say that he's likely going to be fired within a year. I don't know. I would assume that if they signed him to the assumed 3-year agreement that everyone is saying online, that the WWE and TKO feel pretty confident that they can have him on enough of a leash that he's not going to have any crazy outbursts like he did in AEW. Plus, in AEW, CM Punk was able to throw his weight around because he was a giant fish in a small pond. In WWE, he's just a fish. He can't throw his weight around at all here. CM Punk's return is better than Edge's return. I mean, I think you listed 1 and 2 right there. I think those are the 2 biggest returns in WWE history. They're both special for different reasons. So if you think that Edge's is better or you think that CM Punk's is better, I'm not going to argue with you, honestly. It is interesting to note that they were both gone for about the exact same amount of time, 9 years. It's just great. I'm just glad that we were able to experience both of these returns. For me, the bigger return, it might just be a recency bias, but it's CM Punk. Because this was the guy that it just seemed impossible. It seemed that this bridge wasn't just burned, it was nuked. I really did not believe that this could ever happen, no matter how much money WWE threw at CM Punk. AJ Lee at the Rumble, book it. That'd be kind of cool, but if not at the Rumble, I think that this opens up an AJ Lee WWE Hall of Fame induction at the very minimum. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins has the potential to be one of the greatest feuds in the modern era. The promos in their match will be legendary. Absolutely, this is the match that we need. That reaction from Seth Rollins after the cameras cut and CM Punk return was kind of crazy. I would hope it's a work and that somebody of the professionalism and the age of Seth Rollins isn't actually behaving like this. If it's a work, then we're getting set up for arguably one of the most entertaining, most heated feuds in WWE history. Seth giving CM Punk the finger was a job. Seth is a professional and would never do that. It's funny. We were literally just talking about that. I agree. There's no world where Seth Rollins is so childish and so angry with CM Punk that he would throw such a giant fit. The man knows what he's doing. He knew he was being filmed by the people in the front row, and he knew that that reaction would go viral on Twitter. He is working you all like a puppet on strings. It was brilliant, and there's no way that that was a genuine, real reaction. CM Punk's return in AEW was better because he was inactive for 7 years, even if it was expected, but still, the WWE return will go down in history as one of the best WWE returns. His AEW return is incredibly important because that was what brought CM Punk out of retirement. Without that, what happened at Survivor Series doesn't happen because CM Punk was on a completely different path, a path of writing comic books, a path on appearing on movies and TV shows, and wrestling was nowhere near the conversation for him. So we owe, as I said earlier, Tony Khan and AEW a huge thank you for bringing CM Punk out of retirement so that he could inevitably return to the WWE. Yes, his return to AEW is more important than it was his return to WWE. While it was a good pop, that's all it will be known for. Punk will ruin his run just like he ruined every other chance he got. He can't stand it when he doesn't win a match. Well, Cloud, this is just stupid because the 2 times that he got in trouble with AEW, the first time that he got suspended and the second time he got fired, both were after victories. So I don't know what you're talking about, that this whole thing, he doesn't like when he doesn't win a match. Clearly, he doesn't like whatever happened after the match, the backstage politics, the weird high school shit with the elite. It has nothing to do with winning or losing matches. It clearly had to do with the backstage environment that he was in. And that was the case with WWE as well. He was being set up up to beat Triple H at WrestleMania and he didn't care. He just felt like he was in a toxic work environment. Does he react in a very negative way when he is in a bad environment? Clearly he does. I think he maybe even needs some sort of anger management, but clearly WWE feels like they've mended things enough that he is going to do well in the WWE. Let's not forget that we are in a different WWE. We are in the TKO Endeavor era of WWE. Vince McMahon is no longer in the WWE. This is a totally different beast than it was back in early 2014. There's no reason for people to care so much about WWE using ads as much as they do. It doesn't affect the production of the matches or the wrestlers. Get over it. Corbin, I'm inclined to agree with you, but there are instances where the ads have just been way too overbearing. Doesn't get worse than that zombie match for the whatever Casino Dead movie with Batista. That was atrocious. But just having, you know, an ad on the background, that doesn't bother me at all. But sometimes, like when they do the Ruffle Shuffle, the whole ad placement for the Ruffle Chips, that thing was brilliant. So when they can get creative with backstage segments and sponsored segments, when they mix those two, I'm down for it. I just don't like when the sponsored stuff happens in the ring. Considering the backlash of the talent, I can't see Punk staying in WWE for more than a year. Again, this is not AEW where the talent can toss their weight around. This is the WWE. If you don't want to work, if you don't want to do business, get over it. That's just how things work in the WWE. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think people are going to get over it and work with Punk because there's money in working with Punk. At the end of the day, like, they're willing to put things aside so long as everyone comes out on top making lots of money. And I think that CM Punk is going to set that up. Will we see a world where Seth Rollins refuses to work with CM Punk? I doubt it. Judgment Day's loss solidified them as a joke. The Judgment Day looked weak and their future might be in shambles, especially if Priest leaves. JD and Dom could have been future main eventers, but getting beat that bad makes them seem more like J&J security goons rather than credible heels. Damn, okay, they're not J&J security goons. Let's chill for a second. But I think that this was just the culmination of the heels finally losing. Kind of like how when a babyface is chasing the world title, the culmination of their hard work involves a heel losing. Because if we look at the Judgment Day, they've been winning, and setting this up so that eventually the babyface could get the big payoff and win. It might not seem like the same formula, but it is the same formula that the WWE has been following for a very long time. Inevitably, the heels get their comeuppance and lose. I just don't see Damian Priest leaving the Judgment Day anymore. I don't think that Damian Priest works without the Judgment Day. So I still think that Judgment Day will be a perennial main eventer in Monday Night Raw, but they had to inevitably get their comeuppance and lose after this giant hot streak that they've been on. All of these returns and awesome matches will not be enough for Survivor Series to be considered as the fourth biggest PLE, still below Money in the Bank. I still don't think it's a top 4 PLE, but damn it, this year's Survivor Series really made a strong case for it. One of my biggest problems with Survivor Series is that the things that happen at Survivor Series really do not impact or give any consequences towards WWE booking and storytelling moving forward. It's usually things happen at Survivor Series and that's it. There's no consequences beyond that. That's why I like Money in the Bank so much more, because there are consequences that are carried out for the rest of the year based on the results that happen at Money in the Bank. But this Survivor Series isn't just consequences for the next couple of months of WWE television, it's consequences for the next several years. The return of Randy, CM Punk, of course, R-Truth, baby. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thanks for sending in your hot takes. Get out of here.